everyone. I always have to do a big hello because it makes Tony laugh like that. Did you see it? Did everybody see it? Welcome, everyone, to episode 11. We are on episode 11. Today's episode is Shellac for the Win, client stories and testimonials. And I want to say a very happy hello to my co-host, Toni Perriott. Hi, Toni.
Hi, Gina. It's very nice to be here with you again on episode 11. I can't even believe this is our 11th one.
It's crazy. It's been
I love it.
pretty busy. It's been a minute, but we are back. And I hope everybody's having a fantastic summer. And we just want to share with you some client wins that we have had with CND Shellac. Because if you aren't using CND Shellac, what are you doing? It is the best gel polish out on the market. It's fantastic. And I think some of these client testimonials are really going to, and stories are going to show you why it's some of the best stuff out on the market today. So, Toni, I know that you have a client who has had some great success with shellac. So, can you kind of share a little bit about what was going on with her?
Absolutely. So I had someone reach out to me on social media from the area saying that they were looking for a nail pro in the area that does CND shellac. And she said, I found out that you're an educator and that you do CND shellac. Okay. I'm like, I'll get you in for sure. So doing a little background on what she was getting on her nails, she was getting more of a harder gel, not something that would come off very easily. She was saying that they would take an e-file to e-file it off, but actually she called it a drill. They were using a harsh drill to take her gel polish off. And I was trying to explain to her exactly like how C&D gel polish actually removes. And she was like, they've never done that for me. I used to get liquid and powder. Well, she said acrylic, and they would just kind of take it off with a nail tip. And it's very painful and very damaging to our natural nails. Right,
Yes.
Gina? Can you imagine?
Yikes, I can't. I've seen it. It
Yeah.
makes me cringe every time
Yeah, I
watching.
can't even think of how many layers of keratin that cuts through. So yeah, very, very painful. And then you have to heal those. You can't just keep coating them. So, anyways, she came in, a very, very nice woman, and I explained to her what we were going to do. But worst case scenario, of course, had to happen is I wrapped to remove. I filed down a little bit, wrapped to remove, filed down a little bit more, wrapped to remove because it wasn't budging. There was just no way that I could get it off. And I didn't want to use my e-file to drill all the way through because it's just going to cause more damage than she already had. So,
Yeah.
we took it off as safe as we could. It took about 40 minutes, I think, to get all of it off. And so I explained the C&D Shellac system to her as I was working. It's so funny because I don't know if you do this, Gina, but if I have a guest for the first time, I literally I almost feel like I'm teaching a class. Like this is our base code, this is our scrub fresh, like this is all the things and this is what the benefits and this is what it does. And I just feel like your guest being informed of exactly what you're using is just important. So we went through the whole system, put it on our hands. The one thing that she said immediately was how thin it was and how light it felt and how her fingernails didn't feel like they were tight.
Mm.
Like the gel polish wasn't like hurting her. So, which that was wonderful, all good things. So I made her appointment in 2 weeks, but I did use Duraforce on her just because I was a little concerned about wearability because she had such a harsh
Yeah.
gel polish on. So 2 weeks she came back. She had maybe a little bit of wear on her edges, which I was expecting, just because of what she had on before. So I wrapped her to remove, and literally she's like, it is not going to come off like that. I'm like, it is going to come off. I said, 80% of it is going to come off in the foil.
Right.
So I peeked at one, how we like to peek sometimes and see how it's going. So I was like, okay, so we're ready. So I started taking it off. The pinky actually, like all of the gel polish, all of the shellac came off right in the wrap. So she was like, oh my God. I was like, I know. I go, but there's nine more. So took it
Right.
all off. It literally just butterflied like it's supposed to do because, obviously it works as a system, that whole systematic process is just so important, right?
Yes.
So long story short, she's extremely happy. She's been wearing her CND shellac now. I believe I've been doing her nails for about 2 months, 2.5 months now. I see her every 2 weeks. And she could go longer, but she doesn't like to grow out. So, which is fine. You know, everybody has their reasons for going two instead of three. So she's very, very happy. And obviously I sent her home with solar oil because solar oil is so important. And with her nails being kind of compromised to begin with, you know, it
Yeah.
was just important for the whole healing process. And first she said, should I just leave them off? Should I like not put anything on and let them heal? I'm like, you can, but there's a way to heal them while you're still wearing CND shellac. So that's where our
Yeah.
amazing solar oil comes in. But just keep in mind that out of that entire story, the part that just sticks in my head so much is that there's education opportunities available to nail pros virtually like free like, online like there's so many options, you know. I think a shellac course is what, $25. You could take a class and learn the system. And you know, just because I'm a local educator doesn't mean I'm the only one in the area that does CND shellac, you know. So her seeking me out because of that was great, and I did educate her. But any nail pro could educate her as long as they have taken the education and know that it's a premium product. You know, it's a premium product, premium brand, stands behind itself. You know, it works. You know, and I know that when my guests leave, their nails aren't damaged. You know, the health of the nail is the most important thing. So, and that's the whole premise behind C&D Shellac to begin with. Easy on, easy off, no nail damage.
Yeah, that's such an amazing story. I can't wait to like see how great her nails are going to be like even 6 months from now. They're going to be
Hmm.
fantastic. I'm sure they already look fantastic like even 2 months in, but
Hmm.
once all of that damage gets off, grown off of the nail plate, I can't wait to see how they are. We'll have to like do like a little like follow up. And yeah, there are so many amazing points of difference between shellac and other gel polishes that are out on the market. But I think, and you mentioned a couple of those, like how thin it is, how light it feels on the nail. But I think the biggest and probably the most important point of difference to me is the ease of removal.
Hmm.
And that is when I see other nail professionals using something that isn't shellac, I'm like, I couldn't do it. I don't know about you. I mean, I do kind of know about you because
You do.
I talk about you a lot. We talk a lot in our busy schedules, but I don't have time in my appointment schedule for a 20-minute removal.
Yeah, I don't either.
And I'm not having my clients come in like 20 minutes before their service,
Right,
prepping them up and sitting them at a separate table or whatever. Like my clients don't have that time either, right? And
right. Hmm.
I want something that removes easily and is healthy, right? It's
Right.
a healthy
That
from the natural.
the effortless part of it is what's so important. Like
Yeah,
there's no you literally wrap to remove with Awfully Fast, and it
yeah,
comes off so easy. It really does.
beautiful. Yeah, I have a
Hmm.
I have a similar story. Like when shellac first came out, I want to say it was in the first year that shellac first came out. I had a dear friend start coming to me to get her nails done. We went to school together, and she was getting shellac, or so she thought, from another salon, and it wasn't shellac because, of course, had a very similar experience with not being able to remove it.
Hmm.
But when I did remove it, what I think was so disturbing to me when you talk about the nail tip, taking a nail tip and slide like ripping off acrylics with another nail tip.
It's like a razor blade.
Oh, I,
Hmm.
I literally just saw a video of that on social media this morning. Um, they had been e-filing her gel polish off. And so she had rings of fire on her nail
Ouch.
from where they had been e-filing her gel polish off. And I was like, this is so not necessary. And I guess maybe necessary with what they were putting on. N Nothing to that extreme. Nothing you put on, no coating that you put on the nail plate should be so hard to remove that you're filing rings of fire into the natural
Oh,
nail.
absolutely. Or you have not been trained properly in the use of an e-file, which is, it can be
Yeah.
very dangerous.
Yes. So, but the removal process, I was like, we're never going to go through that. That's not going to happen. We're going to use an e-file to remove your shellac from your nails. Like, because I'm using CND Shellac, I use it as a system. And I know that it's going to be great. And also, I love that you point out that you like are educating your clients, new clients when they come in on the system, because yeah, that's what every nail professional should be doing.
Absolutely.
No
I
matter what,
think it's important that they know what you're using and why you're using it.
yeah, that's one of the benefits of education. Like when you go to a class and you're taking the class yourself, you should be taking that information and you should be taking it back to your clients and being like, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it. And this is going to be the benefit for you of why I'm
Right.
doing this. So I think that is something that differentiates us from, and I'm not saying us like as in um C&D educators or anything like that. I'm saying us
No,
as
just C&D brand
a
users.
nail professional
Hmm.
who is getting education and a nail professional who is not, right?
Right. Well,
So,
I think that there's so much more to it than just reading the side of the package,
yeah, of
you
course.
know, because we deep dive in, you're facilitating a class and there's things that people may ask that are one-offs, like that have happened at their table. Like you and I are still at our table, so it's still so relevant to the nail industry because we work, I mean, we work. So it's nice to have just to be able to like ask somebody that is in the same situation you are, your fellow nail pro that maybe works a mile down the road that is having an issue with wearability and being able to answer that question because you are relevant in your industry. You're not just, I'm going to tell you what I know, but not what I do, if that makes sense,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important.
Super important. Educate your clients, right? Educate them on what you're doing. Educate them on proper home care, right?
Yes.
The use of the solar oil, so important. And yeah, so that's a huge difference. It's going to make a big difference in
It really is.
your clientele and your business. You don't think it's going to make a big difference, but it is. It really is. So,
It's
yeah.
the easiest retailable product for the nail industry, like honestly.
Should be your number one retail
Mhm.
product, really, solar
So
oil.
true.
And I always say in my classes, I was like, how will you know if your clients are using their solar oil? Besides the fact that their nails look fantastic and they're not having as much service breakdown as other clients that aren't, they're going to be buying it.
Right. What's so funny is I had this client that I literally gave every time somebody's new, I give them a little mini, right? So I give her the mini and I'm like, put this on your nightstand, do the very last thing before you go to bed, blah, 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 whatever. So she comes in 2 weeks and I'm like, I feel like she just put it on before she got into the salon because I could tell that she hadn't been using it. And I said, when you go to the dentist and you floss your teeth like that day, they know.
We know.
We know.
It's like that TikTok trend. They're not going to know. How will they know? We know.
So true. 100% we know. But yeah, totally know.
Yeah. Well, this
I
was
know.
fantastic. Thanks for sharing your story, Tony. And we'll feature this again. We'll do some other client wins with some of the other C&D systems because I think there are some great I know I have some great client win stories with Plexi Gel.
Ooh, I like it.
So, but until then, we will see you guys next time and have a fun summer. And we will see you hopefully in a couple weeks. All
Yeah,
right.
sounds good for
All right.
episode 12. Woo,
Episode
I
12.
know.
So,
Rolling on by.
all right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.